Hello, guys. Thank you for joining me. I want to discuss the firing of Don Lemon and share with you my analysis and opinion on why I thought Don got fired. Now, I'm sorry about the delay in getting this out. I don't know if you can tell or not by the sound of my voice, but I am under the weather and I am not feeling well. But I wanted to get my opinion out there as to why I think Don was fired. Okay, but before we get started, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn your notification bell on. I really do appreciate all your support. Okay, let's go. Let's get into it. Okay. So according to an article written in the New York Times, Don Lemon was effectively demoted from his primetime slot at 10 p.m. His show was canceled on October 9th of 2022. As you can imagine, the demotion did not sit well with Don at all. He lost his show, his primetime slot, and to appear on a morning show with two other co-hosts. So, yeah, in essence, that was a demotion. So, I'm sure he felt a little bit salty about it. And according to the New York Times, in recent weeks, CNN leaders were hopeful that Don Lemon would adjust to his new morning show role and that higher ratings would soon follow. Really? Because that it's kind of looking a little sus to me, and the reason why I say that is because Don could have kept his old time slot. Instead, they demoted him and gave his primetime slot to Casey Hunt. And rumor has it that Don's colleague, Caitlin Collins, that's his morning co-host, might also be promoted to the 9 p.m. slot after a 1-week trial run. According to the New York Times, on Wednesday, April 19th, Don made headlines again after a highly contentious, not my characterization, those are the characterizations of New York Times, highly contentious on-air exchange with Vivek Ramaswamy, a Republican presidential candidate. The segment deteriorated as the men fiercely, again, not my characterization, those are the characterizations of the New York Times, after the men fiercely debated questions of Black history and the Second Amendment. It's been reported that the incident left several CNN leaders exasperated, according to the New York Times source. So I'm going to play for you in a moment the clip that's been making the rounds on social media. It's an exchange between Don Lemon and Vivek, and I'll give you my analysis of what we see after. Okay? One sec.
And actually insulting, including to Black Americans, to say that Black people today, compared to 1964, 1865, haven't made progress in part because of the freedoms we secured. And the Second Amendment was
Black
part
people,
of what secured
hang on,
that
please.
freedom.
I cannot keep a thought if you guys are talking to me in my ear. So hang on one second. So to say that Black people, say what you said again.
Black people secured their freedoms after the Civil War. It is a historical fact, Don. Just study it. Only after their Second Amendment rights were secured.
They were not secured their freedoms after the Civil War. That is not, you are discounting Reconstruction. You're discounting a whole host of things that happened after the Civil War when it comes to African Americans, including the whole reason that the Civil Rights Movement happened is because Black people did not secure their freedoms after the Civil War, and that things turned around. People tried to change the freedoms that were supposed to happen.
And you know how they got it? They got their
Second
Second Amendment rights, and they actually got the NRA played a big role in that. But today, Don, the
NRA did not play a big role in that.
They trained Black Americans how to use firearms.
That's a lie. That's not. The NRA did not play a big role in that.
This is just historical fact.
It's not historical fact.
The part that I
just
find
because you say it's historical fact.
The part that I find insulting is when you say today Black Americans don't have those rights after we have gone through civil rights revolution in this country.
You are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live, the skin I live in every day.
Here's where you and I have a different point of view.
Black and white that Black people don't have in this country, and that Black people do have.
Well, here's where you and I have a different point of view. I think we should be able to express our views regardless of the color of our skin. We should have this debate without me regarding you as a Black man, but me regarding you as a fellow citizen. That's what I think we should see.
Whatever ethnicity you are explaining to me.
Whatever ethnicity I'm,
what it's like to be Black.
Whatever ethnicity I'll tell you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white, doesn't matter.
I think we should have this
on
debate.
The content of the ideas.
If you're going to do it, you should do it in an honest way and in a fair way. And what you're doing is not an honest and fair way. Okay? We appreciate you coming on.
With due respect, Don, I look forward to continuing that conversation.
Thank you. The conversation.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Papa.
We'll talk about China.
Yes, let's talk about China.
Next time you come back.
Oh, thank you. Much to say on declaring independence from China.
Okay,
something you can
move
add
on now, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I saw a lot of gaslighting and microaggressions directed at Don from Vivek. Okay, and I didn't see contentious. To me, Don was well. He had to be controlled because when we're in white, when Black people are in white spaces, anything that we do is amplified by 10. Okay, Don was very controlled, very professional. After Vivek was hurling a lot of accusations, putting words in his mouth, a ton of microaggressions, a lot of gaslighting, and Don took it on the chin and was firm that he was not going to allow Vivek to come on his show, on his watch, and spread a false narrative about Black American history. Okay, especially when you have governors like Ron DeSantis trying to erase Black history from the American textbooks and American history. Don was not having it. So he quickly shut down Vivek. As you can see, he kind of just dismissed him and was like, okay, yeah, thanks for coming out. I'd rather you have an honest discussion if you want to come back, blah, blah, blah. And then instead of Poppy kind of taking Don's side, because I could tell she was totally annoyed with Don. I don't feel like she had Don's back in this exchange at all. Poppy proceeded to have some sort of, chit chat, some powwow afterwards. And Don was like, no, I'm not having this. So he's like, yeah, you all need to just wrap this up. Okay. Yeah. Wrap it up. And you can see the look on his face when he looked over at Poppy. He's like, yeah, girl, I am not pleased with you. Come on. I need you to have my back on this, but you're going along with this other guy here. So it was just on a whole, not a good look. And, I think that Don definitely was not going to allow Vivek to skew the history of Black people in America. And I think Don was on point. He was absolutely right. Black Americans did not have freedom after the Civil War, and their freedom had nothing to do with the NRA. Okay, what freedoms they've managed to secure in that country have nothing to do with the NRA. Okay, so as he pointed out, there was the Reconstruction era. Then there was, because of the Reconstruction era, they had to go through, civil rights, because again, Black people did not have rights and freedoms, and although they were on the books, they were not being honored, respected, or abided by. So they had to have a civil rights movement to be able to vote. How do you have freedom in a country where you can't vote? That's not freedom. Okay, when you have to abide by segregation, you can't drink from the same water fountain or sit on the bus wherever the hell you want. That is not freedom. Okay, when you're restricted or restrained, that's freedom. That's not freedom. Okay, freedom. Or someone not having freedom doesn't always have to be, with chains around their neck and hands. They don't have to be bound in chains or slavery. Restricting one's freedom taking away freedoms through restrictions and things of that nature, that is also limiting someone's freedom. That's taking away their freedom. So and I believe Don was trying to say, until I have the same rights that are afforded to many other people in this country of a different race, then I can't say that I have equal freedoms. He's looking for equality. Okay, equity under the law. Equity, if you have equity and we're all having the same sort of freedoms and we can move the same sort of ways, then that's freedom in his mind. And I agree with him 100%. Okay, so let's see where I'm at. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I didn't find that exchange at all contentious, but the person that I found contentious was Vivek. Okay, the only person in this exchange that was contentious was Vivek. Look at his face. He's gnashing his teeth. He's baring his teeth. His eyebrows are raised. He looks very aggressive. Don is cool as a cucumber. He's professional. He's challenging him. And this is what they're deeming as fierce and contentious. I find it ridiculous. Okay, so if you guys want to see fierce and contentious, have you ever seen exchanges over at Fox News? Okay, if you want to see fierce and contentious, just ask Geraldo. Whenever Bill O'Reilly rips him a new one and they start tearing at each other, that is to me is contentious. Okay, so let's have a look at what contentious and fierce really looks like.
At 8 p.m. Eastern.
Thank goodness.
Okay. Sanctuary cities. What do you think?
I think you have the story almost exactly wrong, my friend. I think that we're talking about drunk driving, and there were 347 drunk driving fatalities in the Commonwealth of Virginia in the year 2005. I think this may be the first drunk driving story we've done from Virginia. And the only reason it's news on the factor is because the driver was an illegal alien. What if his name was Bubba? What if his name was Buddy?
Not the
what if
same
his name was
story.
Bobby?
It's
not the same story, but still, my heart goes out to those parents.
I hope so.
But really, it does. But there are 17,000 families that suffered the way those parents have.
Yes.
It's not an illegal alien story, Bill. It's a drunk driving story. And I think you owe that
here's why you're
poor
wrong,
lady
because-
mayor an apology.
No.
She doesn't enforce immigration policy.
She has set up a system in her city,
Oh, she
knowingly,
hasn't, Bill.
that
That's not
says
true.
the police
don't
chief.
Don't feed that. What's his name?
Well, look,
Lou Dobbs' mom.
You
Lou
listen
Dobbs
to
has
me, I'll listen to
regenerated
you.
his dead career
All right.
on the backs of illegal aliens.
Look,
Let's not go there.
You listen to me, I'll
The
listen to
Minutemen
you.
are wearing guns now on the border.
You listen to me, I'll listen to you.
What, they're going to start shooting illegal aliens?
When you enter this country illegally, number one, you have no right to be here. No right. That's the truth. And number two,
That's true.
when you're caught committing a crime, as this man was,
He was drunk in public twice.
Hold it.
And one time he was a drunk driver with no victims.
He should have been deported the first time, and he was not. And the reason he wasn't deported,
Because he didn't commit a felony.
it doesn't make any difference.
And he didn't commit a misdemeanor.
crime.
He didn't commit a misdemeanor having to do with moral turpitude
All right,
either.
so let me get this straight.
Everyone followed the law. You owe everyone an apology from the governor
they
to
didn't.
the mayor down.
No, they didn't. Now, I just want to get this straight. You, Geraldo Rivera, with teenage daughters,
Right.
are telling me that you are okay with somebody sneaking into the country, becoming drunk, get convicted of a DUI, and staying here. You're all right
My
with that.
nightmare is my daughters having anything
you
to do with
okay
a
with
drunk.
that?
Let me finish my answer. My nightmare is my daughters having anything to do with a person driving drunk. That's my nightmare. It could be a Jewish drunk.
this
It could be
guy
a
didn't have
Polish
to be
drunk.
here.
It could be an Irish drunk.
No.
It could be an Italian drunk.
American
what the
crime.
hell difference does it make?
It makes plenty of difference.
It does not.
He
Bill,
doesn't have a
please.
right to
He
be
didn't commit
here.
a felony.
He doesn't have a right to be in this country.
What? But that has nothing to do with the
Yes,
fact that he
it
was
does.
a drunk.
He should have been
He was a
deported.
drunk. What if,
He should have been deported, and this mayor and the police chief didn't deport him.
Listen, do you know how many people we have in jail? How many of them are illegal aliens? Illegal aliens commit crimes at a lower rate than citizens do.
This guy
They do.
shouldn't have been here.
Cool your jets. It has nothing to do with illegal aliens. It has to do with drunk driving.
It doesn't.
Don't obscure
He
a
should have been
tragedy
deported.
to make a cheap political
If
point.
I'm the father,
It is a cheap political
no,
point.
it isn't.
And you know
this
it.
is justice.
This has
and
nothing to do
you
with that
want
poor old lady
anarchy.
mayor.
You
It has
want
nothing to do with that mayor.
You want anarchy.
No, what
you
I
want
want-
open border anarchy.
What
That's
I want is fairness. We have lured
Fairness,
these people.
bull.
We have lured these.
This is the
we
law.
have lured these people
Oh,
to this
yeah.
country with the promise
Nobody
of
has-
jobs
this-
in a country where there is basically full domestic employment.
All right.
We have for decades lured them here,
This
and now
family-
we're starting a mob scene.
This family lured no
you want
one.
your viewers to go knocking on people's door
No,
to door.
bull,
Are
that's
you an
bull.
illegal? I want to take you outside and do
I
something
want the
to you.
law enforced.
History have seen what happens when you
I
single
want
out
the
people
law
like that.
enforced, and
But then
you don't.
Bill,
You
half
don't.
of Congress, if they had the courage, the President of the United States, if you look at what he has to say, all want reasoned immigration reform.
Then
but to
do
take
that.
this tragedy in Virginia Beach and make it about illegal aliens
It
is a
is.
sin. That's a sin.
Bull. This family lured no one. This family lost their daughter, and so did the other.
347 drunk
Because
driving
the law-
fatalities in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
We deal with
Do
Americans.
we care about them?
We deal with Americans that way, and I deal with it all the time, and you know I do, with child predators and everything else.
But I back you with that because it's a reasoned approach.
This
it
is
singles
reason.
out the perpetrators
You
who
don't
have
let these
no,
people
wait,
stay
wait. I
here.
think let's calm down.
I'll give you the last
Okay.
word. You don't let these people
a
stay
child
here.
predator is someone with a predilection to commit an offense against the juvenile. So you go that because of that cause and effect, you go after the person who's perpetrating the offense. There's no cause and effect between his illegality and his drunkenness.
Sure there is. He's irresponsible.
Latinos aren't more drunk than other people.
Latino bull. It's about Ramos. It's not Latino.
Right, I agree. And that's
should
why
be
if
out.
Ramos was Raminsky, would we care?
We would certainly care.
If
when
he was an
broke the
illegal-
law, he gets deported
17,000 fatalities drunk
first time.
driving.
All right. How much time do we have?
Woo! That is what I call contentious and fierce. Okay, so if Don was acting like that, I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? You know, he asserts himself and it's called fierce and contentious. And when Bill O'Reilly does it, it's nothing. Nobody even batted an eye. There was no discussion. Everyone was cool. It was, there was not a difficult situation. I mean, it was fine, and to me, Don had remained completely professional, and the only person who was contentious, like I said, was Vivek. Anywho, okay. Well, Don is a proud Black man, in my opinion. He simply put Vivek in his damn place, rightfully so. And who the hell does Vivek think he is to tell a Black American man what his experiences are like living in America? Okay? I would never be so arrogant as to tell someone what I think their experience should be. And I think what really irked me was when Vivek said that Don should go study his history. Just go study it. Like as if to say, Don wouldn't know his own history. I mean, to me, it's preposterous. It was almost, I felt like he was talking down to Don. You know what I'm saying? It was just absolutely asinine. Anywho, Don was absolutely correct to point out that Black Americans are not free after the Civil War. They were not free after the Reconstruction era, and I feel that he got that absolutely right. Don also argued that Black people are still fighting to secure rights and freedoms in America with regards to being treated equitably, and being free from hindrance or restraint. Okay, you literally don't have to be shackled up to have your freedoms taken away or restricted. Okay, and here's a prime example. Most recently, this teenage boy named Ralph Yarl, he's a 16-year-old child who was shot twice, once in the head and again while lying on the ground by a racist old man. He was shot because he rang that man's doorbell, okay, for the simple act of ringing a doorbell. The police were called. The man said that he shot Yarl by mistake twice. He shot a child twice by mistake. I don't know how you do that, but that's what he said. And the police took him at his word. Okay? He shot a child twice, and the police said, we understood, that he made a mistake. He shot the child in error, even though he shot him in the head and then stood over him and shot him again. But it was by accident. Okay? And the police refused to press charges at first. Okay? So his community, Ralph's community, gathered up together, and they held a protest. They had to march. Okay? And finally, because of the march and whatnot, the police arrested the man and pressed charges 3 days after the child was shot. Okay, and that was only because of public pressure, and that his parents went out and hired the biggest civil rights attorney and got people involved, and then the police kind of crumbled under pressure and decided to charge the man eventually. But at first there was no charges, there was no arrest, and to me, I figure, that's, to me, when the laws are not applied equally, that's not freedom. There's one justice system for you, one justice system for me. That, to me, is not freedom. When you restrain someone, okay, from getting the same rights and freedoms that everyone else is attributed to everybody else, that is not freedom. Okay, that's you. So again, I say all that to say this: when Black people are in white spaces. And this is why I think Don was fired. Okay, this is solely my opinion. You can agree with me or disagree, but this is what I think. Okay, when Black people are in white spaces, some white people expect Black people to act docile, meek, and not uppity. Okay, they expect Black people should be grateful for being in their space, for being allowed, in their space, and that we did not earn our spot. Okay. So, and unfortunately, as Black people, to survive, we go along to get along, and we kind of kowtow to this type of hostility, and we start bootlicking. We have this bootlicking behavior because we're trying to survive. We are too well aware of the fact that if I respond the way I want to, if I speak up, if I defend myself, if I assert myself, if I expound, or if I speak in a passionate way, or I object, all of my behaviors and actions will be amplified. They'll be, if I raise my eyebrows, I'm being aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll just be taken out of context all the time. So, we've come up with survival instincts, okay, to survive when we're in white spaces. However, Don is a very self-assured, confident Black man who is not afraid to speak his mind. He's what some white people may call uppity, okay? Because he's not well behaved. That's what they think. That's not my words. It's not my opinion, okay? This is what happens in reality. Okay, so Don, he's a proud Black man who loves himself and will call you out if you step out of bounds, no matter what. Okay, and in the eyes of some, his behavior could be seen as threatening. I hate to say it, but it's the truth, and y'all know it. But I feel like as Black people, we should be able to express ourselves freely. Okay, because that's not freedom. When you can't express yourself the way you want or how you want, with respect to other people, that's not freedom. Okay, and we should be able to confront people who are being rude and disrespectful to us without being labeled contentious, fierce, angry, or aggressive. Okay, we need to use our voices. We don't need to push. Excuse me. If we don't push for equality, we will always be expected to be docile, meek, and well-behaved in white spaces. The very idea that we have to alter our behavior because other people's perceptions and unconscious biases of us when we enter white spaces is actually limiting our freedom, just like Don said. Okay, we are not free until we have equality. So don't be fooled, folks. This is the new face of white supremacy. This is why I scrap all that, persons of color nonsense, all right? Because oftentimes it's other minority groups who use white supremacist tactics to oppress and preserve their proximity to whiteness. So they use those white supremacy tactics to oppress us just to preserve their proximity to whiteness. We need to stand alone and defend our own. And I'm not a hater. I don't want people coming down in my comments and saying I'm racist, I'm this, and I'm not. I'm not a hater. I don't hate anybody based on the color of their skin, their religion, their ethnicity, or their sexual orientation. That's stupid. Okay, that's a dumb reason to not like someone. I don't hate. I'm not a hateful person. If I so happen to not like you, it's because of your character. It's because of your morals, your values. It's because of your character. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin or anything else of that nature. Okay. So what I am, though, is I'm a very proud Black woman who loves her community. And that is why I make it a point to know the plight and the struggles and successes of other Black ethnicities, so that when I'm faced with a white supremacist, I can defend my people and defend my people with facts and knowledge. Well, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. I hope you found the video informative and entertaining, or both. If you enjoyed this content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel for more videos like this. I appreciate your support and feedback, so feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated on my latest uploads. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next video.